Welcome to the Middle Eight Football Podcast, the fastest 8 minutes in sports. I'm Joe Burks, your host. Let's break down this Thursday night game between Green Bay and Washington. Obviously, I was wrong. I picked Washington by just a hair. I was super 50-50 on the game, but the Commanders were my pick. They ended up kind of falling flat in the face of this dominant Green Bay defense that we saw. Yet another great defensive showing from the Packers. They only led 230 yards. To this Commanders offense, we've seen make some really highlight plays, especially last season with Jaden Daniels, who is now in his second season. And a great offensive outing for the Packers as well, with Jordan Love at quarterback. And one of the biggest notes I have on this offensive performance was tight end Tucker Kraft, a guy that really broke out during his rookie season last year and is continuing to break out here in 2025. He was dominant in the Thursday night win. There was a graphic that they had late in the third quarter on the broadcast. It said Tucker Kraft, 108 total yards, the Washington offense 101 total yards, which is just a mind-boggling statistic for a tight end especially to have that kind of yardage, and then also highlighting how good the defense was. So it was the perfect graphic to have up. But he ended up having 6 receptions for 124 yards and a touchdown. He was just left wide open at times by this defense, which is just ridiculous because, I mean, his calling card, two major things. He's a really good blocker and is amazing after the catch. Gives him the nickname Tucker Kraft Yak and Cheese. Yak, yards after catch if you don't know. But, I mean, he looked fantastic as always. Good after the catch. He's a really good presence at the tight end position for this team. And it was really his night to dominate. It kind of begs the question that with Green Bay, they have so many different receivers with so many different skill sets. Is Kraft going to be the number one target in this offense? I would say I'm a little bit hesitant to deem him as that right now. But the way he's been playing, I mean, caught a touchdown last week, really great yardage this week along with the touchdown. He was a fantasy target I like coming into the year, and he has really shown why he is so dominant. So what a great performance from him. The Packers' front seven continues to be, or their pass rush specifically, continues to be a major storyline this season. Obviously, I was a big fan of the Packers' move for Micah Parsons. I thought the Cowboys got the raw end of that deal, honestly. I thought they should have kept Parsons and paid him. Nonetheless, the Packers get Parsons, and it is looking like an amazing deal. He, along with the rest of that defensive line, is winning consistently against the offensive linemen on the opposing team. He is constantly getting pressure. I mean, 3 really good pass rushers on this team. You have Micah Parsons. He plays all over the field. You have defensive end Rashawn Gary's been on the team for several years, and then defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt, first-round pick a few years ago out of Georgia, who's really come into his own, got a couple sacks this year as well. So this front seven and the pass rush as a whole has looked fantastic. The defensive backfield, the secondary, and you have stars all over. The cornerback depth was a little bit questionable coming into the season, but the defense has looked just lights out so far. And not even having the star power they used to have at cornerback, I mean, this pass rush has made the defensive backfield's job even easier. I mean, they're getting so much pressure. They're forcing checkdowns. They're forcing bad throws. They're getting sacks. I mean, speaking of which, they sacked Daniels 4 times, and if you don't remember, they had 4 sacks against the Lions as well in their win in the season opener. They've taken down 2 really good teams from last season so far, and they're now on pace for 68 sacks as a team this season, which would have beaten the 2024 sack leader, which were the Denver Broncos, by 5 sacks. So if they keep going on this pace, which they might not, but if they do, it could be a historic season for the Green Bay defense and Jeff Hafley, their coordinator, who's done such a good job. And even more impressively, moving back to the Packers offense, they were able to put on a dominant performance. Jordan Love looked good. The pocket was very clean for most of the night without their starting tackle, Zach Tom, and their starting guard, Aaron Banks. Extremely impressive to do that with 2 offensive linemen that weren't usually starting in the game. And moving on to Jordan Love, he looked solid last night. Made a couple mistakes, but none were back-breaking or offense stalling errors. He did miss first-term rookie out of Texas, Matthew Golden, on a couple deep throws. Underthrew him on one and overthrew him on the other when he absolutely burned the defense downfield. Golden was one of my favorite prospects in this year's draft. That's no secret. I was a big fan of his. I think he's going to work out in the NFL. And I think if he and Love get on the same page, or if Love just throws a more accurate football down the field, we're going to see him get those big plays off and become a really premier wide receiver in the NFL. Moving on to some injury news, Jaden Reed, wide receiver for the Packers, supposed to be the wide receiver 1 coming into the year, has suffered a broken collarbone. Tried to make a catch in the end zone, deep down the field. Made the catch, injured his collarbone going down. The play was taken down because of a penalty regardless. But he is expected to miss a lot of time. He's going to be on injured reserve as well. So update your fantasy lineups going forward with him. But overall, this Packers offense and defense in tandem look elite. The Packers look like contenders. Again, like I said before, Detroit, Washington, two teams that were amazing last year, especially on the offensive side of the ball, stagnant against the Packers defense as we've seen so far. And this Parsons trade just keeps looking better and better for Green Bay, like I thought it would. Love has looked strong out of the gate. I think a lot of the praise should go to Matt LaFleur, the head coach, and as well as the Green Bay front office. They've done a great job putting this team together, finding studs in the draft over the last few years, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They've really built up that defense through the draft. A ton of homegrown defensive starters that started their careers with the team, as well as a couple of nice free agent pickups that have really made a big difference. I think of a guy like Xavier McKinney. But yeah, the Packers looked so good, and I'm so excited to see how far they can go this season. Moving on to the Commanders, we can start off with a bit of unfortunate injury news. Veteran running back Austin Eckler spent a ton of time with the Chargers before joining the Commanders. I believe last season was his first season with the team. Really good running back in the past, as well as now. He is feared to have suffered a torn Achilles, which would be obviously a season-ending injury. He'd be going on season-ending IR. Really unfortunate because he's a talented running back, especially catching the football. He's been very, very good at that in the past. As soon as I saw it, he went down non-contact. It looked like an Achilles tear. It looked pretty obvious, so I'd be very surprised if the results came back any differently. As a result, it looks like 7th-round rookie Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is going to get even more work out of the backfield. Obviously, they weren't running the ball. I think part of that was because they were behind pretty much the whole game. Washington was, so they had to air the ball out. But Krosky-Merritt obviously really impressed in the offseason, 7th-round rookie, expected to take a big role in this backfield. And he's looked all right so far. Had a really good week 1 performance against New York. And despite last night's struggles, I think he will go on to have a successful rookie season. I started Ja'Cory or Bill Krosky-Merritt, he likes to be called Bill, on my fantasy team last night. Felt the results of it. 1.7 points. A big dud out of him. But really hoping to see him become more reliable as a flex play going forward, just shifting to the fantasy side of things. But I'm excited to see what he can do the rest of the season. But nonetheless, an unfortunate injury for Eckler, a player I really do like. As far as Jaden Daniels goes, the star quarterback for the Commanders, he looked pretty good last night. Made some throws. There was a big drop on a 3rd down that could have continued one of their offensive drives that he made a really good throw on. I'm not worried about the Commanders, really. I'll be honest. They've looked pretty decent. Had a great game against New York. Daniels has looked sharp so far. Made a couple mistakes through 2 weeks, but nothing that really concerns me. I think he's going to have another great season. I don't foresee a sophomore slump, or at least not to the extent where it should be labeled a sophomore slump. But I think Daniel's going to have another successful season. Didn't look bad last night, despite the offense kind of running stagnant at times. And just kind of some overall notes. Green Bay, like I said before, looks like a contender. They could make a really deep playoff from this year. They have the personnel to do it. They have the players to do it. And I'm so excited to see how far they can make it, because this team is just star-studded. Micah Parsons was kind of the crown jewel of this defense. Now that he's in place, he's playing more snaps. He's coming back from that back injury. It's gonna be hard to beat the Packers. They're kind of a buzzsaw team right now, just taking down whoever is in their way. Other note, like I said before, I think Washington's gonna be just fine. They're 1-1 now, but looked dominant against a bad team. Looked so-so against a really good team. So I expect them to make the playoffs. Will they win the division? Maybe not. I mean, you have Dallas, who looks solid. Philly, who beat Dallas last week. The Giants, obviously, will likely not be relevant unless Jackson Dart, the rookie quarterback, is going to start later in the year and goes on a Jaden Daniels-like rookie year tear. But overall, great showing from Green Bay. I expect them to be really good. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Don't forget to share it with your friends and follow the podcast. Listen to every episode. All your football news in just 8 minutes. I'm Joe Burks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.